So we really got to study. We really got to study that Black Madonna. It means she's in charge, and he's the son. I'm just gonna say it. Let's respect our mother. You know, that's what it means. It means respect Ma. Everyone comes from her. It doesn't mean she's a single mom. I'm not for that. When the brother was saying something about American women are getting a matriarchy, I don't think being single mom is matriarchy. That's something different. Single mom is a sad shame because the brothers aren't strong enough to take care of their woman. I'm gonna just say that. I'm gonna have to say it. We don't want to be single. Okay,
No, we
these single moms out there. I was at this basketball tournament all day. That's why I missed it. You know, all day, young men's basketball, and I saw all these beautiful young men, and I was like, I want to see all the dads. Where's all these handsome dads? There's some dads, but most freaking lot of moms. I'm like, where's all these good-looking brothers, the fathers of these young men?
That is problematic, but there's so much to heal. There's so much to heal.
Definitely, and we have to know. In order to heal, we have to know who we are. We have to see ourselves as the first people, the mothers and fathers of creation, and we have to take responsibility. And we got to learn the story. We got to know. We didn't come from freaking monkeys, okay? We didn't. We came from gods, okay? In the Bible, it says the Most High is above all gods. Gods were just our kings and queens, our people on earth. What we, you know, our elders who we honored, who had wisdom, who built the pyramids. If that's not math, you can suck it, okay? If you don't know that's math. If you don't know the pyramids are math, you don't know anything. So I'm just so tired of it. I'm tired of our people thinking they don't know nothing, thinking so lowly of themselves, not knowing they created math. They're the first doctors, the first scientists, everything. So we got to know ourselves and respect ourselves and act that way. And it's not going to be by acting like some European or acting like a Chinese or hating. But we got to be careful. Because if what I'm saying is true and Europe was once black and it became totally white, what happened? Think about it. But America is a perfect example. Israel is a perfect example of what happened. So, but at the same time, like I said in the beginning, the spirit and just what would they call it? Destiny is taking care of it because, like I said, look it up. The sperm counts. All right, everyone, Ashe.
Ashe, sis, thank you so much. I give thanks to you, sis. Thank you. Big Z, you've been so patient. Tell me what you think, brother. After this is going to be really the closeouts. I'm going to let everybody have their last words, and we'll be out of here and back in here again. Maybe tomorrow. We like to do our weekend discussion. So please tell me what you think about everything we talked about. It was about social distancing, but we really went into a lot of things. And man, it was a beautiful night. I have to go break this video up so I could really hear it again.
Yeah, because that's a big pot of gumbo.
Yeah.
That's a whole lot in a little time. I mean, 6 hours, 6.5 hours was not enough, and we cannot address everything here.
No, we can't.
But in my personal life, I'm dealing with this not so much the social distancing part, but the other part of the title. I've been fighting for over 6 years, spent countless amount of thousands of dollars to make my wife a resident. And
wow.
Once that was denied, we made our decision to leave together and move to Africa. So that's one of the reasons why we're doing it and making the move.
Oh wow.
1 second here.
Okay.
But with that being said, it takes maybe love for yourself and for another person for you to identify them as a mate or kinfolk, or whatever you want to call it. Maybe it takes you looking outside of yourself to see someone as worthy, if that's even the word for it. I mean, I shouldn't even be using that word because that's not what it is. But worthy enough for the engagement. This panel here is an engagement. These are individuals that feel that themselves, number one, are worthy. The other individuals on the panel are worthy of hearing the opinions and keeping it as cordial as possible for the most part. There's others that jump in there and out of there, but you have to start the dialogue. We've done that.
Yeah.
When it comes down to the past history, that things that has happened on all continents, all coasts, enough for me personally. Enough. I've heard enough. I don't need to hear another story about how this person did that, or this race or ethnicity did this or that to us, because I'm already full. I'm full of it already. So, in my opinion, on that topic alone, if you ain't had enough, if you ain't sick and tired of being sick and tired, what are you doing?
What world are you living in?
Exactly. So for the panel of speakers and for the viewers, I challenge you to figure out what it is that you want. What do you actually want? How do you view this future? Because we already know we're losing. When you know you're losing, you have two things you can do.
Yep.
You can, as other U.S. presidents have done, concede, or you can trump it out and fight to the very end a losing battle. You have to figure out what you want and then figure out how to get it. What we are missing here is that we have to Gopeka said it best. You have them Europeans, the Scottish, the English, the Irish, the O'Sheas and the O'Malleys. They fought. That was tribalism as well. They sat down and came to a mutual agreement.
It makes me wonder sometimes, Z, if we're gonna need to fight it out before we get the strength to fight them.
We don't need to
fight. I mean, we've been fighting ourselves forever, but do we really need to spread just have a major fight before we can understand? How many more fights do we need to have? Go ahead.
You talk about a family gathering.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. And the cool part about that is that it's so many times that we get on these panels and we hear the same thing, that that Africa itself, the continent, lacks resources. Your resources have been outsourced. You have individuals that are in Sweden, in Europe, in Australia, in America, in South America, all over the place. Call them back. Call them back to assist with the restructuring and building. If you need roads done, well, there's a civil engineer somewhere in the U.S. Call him back. Incentivize him to come back. If you need skyscrapers or high rises, well, there's a builder in Europe, melanated. Call him back. If there's a gentleman in Sweden that is financially savvy, call him back. This is the call to come back. You want help. You want a handout or you want help? Because I'm not with the handout thing. If I do something for someone, I want something in exchange. If I go to McDonald's and I give them my money, I want my food that I ordered. Simple. The fight here, and I heard individuals speaking about tribalism. Yes, we all have it. Whether it's just your natural bravado, whether it's big enough Afrocentricity, if it's Fulani, if it's Mandinka, whatever the case may be, same thing. And that's all around the world. It's okay to have tribalism on the continent, for the continent, not for your little section. We're bigger than the little section. We're bigger than what's over, the neighborhood over here or the neighborhood over there or, Birmingham, wherever. We're bigger than that. And we have to start thinking bigger than that. We have to start thinking globally. How about this? We're talking about finances here as well. So let's talk about Africa's free trade agreement. No longer do you have to live in Benin and buy something from Europe that comes from Togo just so they can get their cut. Now you can trade next door. Beautiful. That breeds infrastructure. That breeds logistics in trucking, a trucking industry that hasn't been tapped into because they wouldn't let us. That's going to open up $3 trillion. In America itself, African Americans make up $1.5 trillion. So that sounds like 4.5. Europe chime in. Brazil can chime in. Everywhere else can chime in. Melanated people, in order for any of us to succeed, and I don't mean be successful and run off and act like the whites. I'm talking about to succeed in life itself, because you can be financially well off and mentally deficient. So for us to be successful mentally as a people, we have to come together. We hear all the fighting. We hear all the opinions of what someone has witnessed or experienced. By the way, I've never said any derogatory term towards none of my African brothers. I have family that are African. So how can I? So I sit back and say, damn. And I've heard those comments and look at people that say that shit like, are you crazy? Oh, you don't know nothing. But that's the separation. I mean, it's, we call it mental health issues. We call it oppression. And we have individuals that are stuck in certain sectors and not looking at the bigger picture. Well, me personally, if I see cancer, I want to cut it out. Get rid of it. Move forward. I'm not sitting here waddling, depressed. Woe is me as a people. I'm not running from anything. I'm not downplaying any brothers and sisters on their religion or belief, because that's what you believe and that's your perception. You're okay. It's okay to have that. But what I am saying is that amongst all of our differences, what can we agree on? Let's start there. Let's get our agreement together and move forward. There's other things that can happen as well. If you want to do manufacturing, we need to start manufacturing the machines to get it, or bringing them in. There's individuals that can do that. If you want to do agriculture, you can go on trademap.org and look up any country you'd like, and you can see exactly what is imported. Well, if once you see what's imported, you can start growing it. That cuts into the market. No longer do they have to go outside and have it imported in, but it's grown here, homegrown. With that being the case, you can sell it locally at a lower amount and cut into that market. That's business. What else? I mean, it's just so much, Gina. What I've heard today, I've been processing it. It's so much. It's so much of this, that, and the other. I will say this: the unity is there. If it wasn't there from all sides, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah, we wouldn't.
I digress.
Thank you so much, Z. Big Z. Thank you, and I hope you could get to your wife sooner than later, my brother. I'm sorry that they're giving you a hard time about. Okay,
she's here getting on my nerves.
That's good. That's good.
But we can't stay, so we got to go. I mean, if we can't stay here, then we got to go somewhere else.
There's nothing wrong with that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So that being said, y'all, this was an amazing conversation. It's a complicated discussion, and this is only the beginning, because I'm realizing that, when we talk about unity, and my channel is really about us having those tough conversations. And today, I think this was one of the most honest, one of the most honest. And I felt like a lot of people, I'm not sure we're really there yet. I think we're still holding back a little bit, but that's fine. But I truly believe that we're opening up, and we're giving ourselves the opportunity to get a lot of things out of the way, so we could get to doing and having the type of organization that's required for people. It's nation time, y'all. It's really time for us to start thinking as a race, because we are one people. Now, all the other things that come with that, because we all have different pockets, and that's fine. We could keep those pockets, but understand we're walking in the same pants, y'all. We could keep these different pockets, but we're walking in the same pants, and we're going to get through this if we do it together. Now, I want you guys to really do me a favor and, really take some time out to really go within yourselves, and really try to figure out, what it is that really, stops you from feeling like, okay, I can have a connection with my brother, or I can have a connection with my sister. When we really go down, and if you're like me, I always keep a little notebook around, and I will write down the pros and the cons and the whys. Sometimes you just got to write it down. And then if you're honest with yourself, a lot of what you don't like about people it has a lot to do with your own insecurities, and not really what they do per se, but how you perceive things. Because guess what? None of us could say that we are in a place of when it comes to these conditionings that has happened to us. None of us are not in a place of not conditioned. And when I say us, I'm talking about us Haitians, us African Americans, us Africans, Caribbeans, wherever you are. None of us are left unconditioned. And so we can help each other through. We can help each other with this, because there are certain things that you're good at that I'm not good at. What I don't have, you can give me, and what you don't have, I will give you. That's what we're supposed to be doing. That's what other people do for each other. And those other things, once we can get to a place where okay, you don't have to love me, but respect me. You don't have to, invite me to all your meals and cookouts and all of that. But when we see each other, we know that we're one, and we're working towards one direction. I saw some amazing people come through tonight, and some of the things that I heard, I'm going to have to go back and hear them again, because I'm very proud of us. Because think about it. There was a time that we couldn't even have these discussions, let's say, with our family. We're strangers, so most of us, we don't know each other. We came on here, and we've been on here for the most part, some of us for 6 hours, and some. There has been some people that I've had to ask to, please leave, because I'm not dealing with the anger, and I'm not holding on to the bitterness. We're going to talk about things, but we're not going to talk at each other at a place where we're not able to heal, or we're not even willing to hear what's necessary. So one thing I will ask, as we close out, is please, in your personal lives, do whatever you can to bring these things to life. This social distancing, this is the way we distance ourselves from each other. Even if it's just a matter of you walking down the street, look at brothers and sisters in the eye. Give them that I know you. You're a part of me. When you go in somewhere, usually we don't share that kindness. We don't preserve the kindness and the respect that we should to our own people. We give that to other people. Make sure that we're doing that, and of course do the obvious: buy black, love black, and be black. So that being said, I want to say thank you for everybody that came through on the panel. This was fire. I'm gonna have to go look at it again and again. I'm gonna force my husband to look at it with me tonight as soon as I get off. Major League, please tell me what you think about this discussion. Are you still with us, or did you fall asleep? I think you fell asleep.
No, I fell asleep.
Okay.
I fell asleep, man. I'll catch you on the next time.
Man. All right, well, get some rest, okay? I'm not even going to make you do the closeout, but I'll catch you tomorrow. You have a good evening. Okay, guys, so that was Major League. He fell asleep on me. So, Tunija, are you still up?
Yeah, I'm here, very much here.
I'm so sorry. I know you guys is late. I'm trying to do these earlier, but I'm a night owl. So, Tunija, the conversation was, you didn't even see the first half. It got ugly. It was nice. It got ugly. Then it straightened up again. And, we got some truth up in there. And this was a very good discussion. And I'm happy that you came through to play a part in it. Tell me what your closeout is for the social distancing between us, sir.
Yeah. I think at the heart of it is that if most people are honest with themselves, that often do this, participate in this type of distancing, it's because they've decided that the other groups are better off, and they want to become part of them. They want to marry into them and become one of them. So, and that is that's at the heart of it. And I think there is something else that controls that way of thinking, and that's an individual choice. But if any group is doing well, you tend to find that people want to become part of it, and these are people who will always be in all the groups, and that is at the heart of why they want to distance. Some of them are very, very, very comfortable saying they are not Africans, or one of them even talked about how her husband is a soldier and they can go into Africa and do whatever they like there, because these people have decided that they are not black. Really, they are really not black. Even if they may be black right now, their fate is in joining up with the other groups. And what makes it even more insidious is that some of these, I don't know whether they call them maybe or those kind of groups. They at the same time, when they are talking and distancing themselves from being black or Africans, they are associating themselves with Europeans in such a weird way. The association is that they are saying that because black people were in Europe once, they are more like those black people. So now they are Europeans. It's such a weird, bend over backward way of trying to associate yourself with a group of people, and it's sad because that the Pekka guy said something that is interesting, is that low self-esteem, and our people not doing so well, and that is at the heart of it. And I must say, I may have been one of those people, maybe that I would say I describe myself as being conscious, because when I went to Ghana, I found my view of humanity in a way changed, because it's as a Nigerian, you just get one way of life, then when you go somewhere else, suddenly you see a totally different way of life. It really affected the way I perceived things, and it just occurred to me that people's view of life is fickle, and you'll be surprised how quickly people turn. And we people like us people like us that have the vision, and some people say blessed with a cause, and that's what the MX used to say. I don't see it as a cause. If you have the vision, I think it's for us to start charting the path, because when you feel, because when I see what happened recently, and all over the continent, and in the diaspora, you see what happens to Haiti, and you just see how disconnected we appear. It's just heartbreaking to watch that happen over and over again.
Yeah.
And that needs to be stopped, and it needs to be healed. And in terms of solutions, I think there has to be some kind of global organization of our people.
We need to create that for ourselves, right?
Yeah, that protects, that ensures, like the previous speaker said something about business and all those things. But the reason why those things don't work out for us is because we are being disrupted. Yeah. We have to create an organization that stops that disruption. Yeah. Our part is like, we understand everything we need to do. We are intelligent people and everything, but whenever we try to reach out for it, we are disrupted on and on. Just like Haiti's future is being disrupted constantly, because they know if that country gets its act together, it's an emblem, it's a symbol of what our people can do. So we have to start organizing from the point of view of a global body, and that is a tricky organization because of the nature of our community right now, which means if we are building anything, it has to be doubly secure. And it has to be doubly, based on actions, not, because you are a dear leader, everybody just follows you, because the moment you are compromised, everybody is compromised. Other people did it, and it's not supposed to be easy. And how do you expect that to be that easy? And if you look at how other people walked their way out of the mess they are in, they made sacrifices. You have to, because the sacrifices have been made anyway. One of the videos I saw yesterday, when they were playing, these are black people playing these videos of African suffering and laughing at it. And when they were playing this video, that is sacrifice. Poor people dying, children, name it. We are sacrificing almost for nothing. Why don't we sacrifice for something? Our people are dying for nothing right now, because our people haven't gotten our acts together yet. And this is what other people have understood. This is why I talked about group IQ, that our IQ dropped a bit because of all the disruptions. Other people understand that when they work together, they get somewhere. It doesn't matter about their individual circumstances and consequences. Our people seem to think that because, we are okay, we are surviving right now, everything is all right, we don't have any sense of emergency. I don't know whether I should blame it at them, that our people, that we can't see it, but it's because they associate poverty to their own people. They don't think that poverty is being inflicted on them. Mm-hmm. They don't think it's been inflicted. They just think our leaders are the ones causing it. Our people are the wicked people and all the rest. They don't think it's been inflicted. If it's not been inflicted, how did the world, G20, get $17 trillion recently and nothing for our groups? That is infliction of poverty on a group of people. They are reinforcing it every time with every recession and every event like this. They are reinforcing it, because that is what the banking system is meant for. That is what the all the system that they create in the world, UN and everything, that's what it's meant for. It was never meant to help us grow. They talked about, so somebody, let me just add one point. One man said something that most people don't hear often. He said there are think tank projects that have classified. They are more classified than the building of the atomic nuclear bomb. That if think tanks, in their operation that they are carrying out can be more classified than atomic bomb, it tells you how powerful they consider these little researches and ways of controlling people are. And this is why they were able to evolve from physically being on our continent to controlling us from Brussels, WTO, and wherever they are. They create money from nothing and use it to buy all our stuff. 17 trillion. from nowhere.
Yeah.
And that money can buy our countries. This is what they are inflicting on us. If we don't start waking up and start thinking clearly about these things, and I don't have all the answers, but I know enough to know that that is a serious, serious challenge on us, and we don't seem to be waking up to it. The impact of that 17 trillion, we have not started feeling it in Africa yet.
Yeah.
Because how can one side just get all this money and you don't get anything? And you think the consequences are not going to flow? It's going to flow down. And the fact that we are still standing is a miracle. I am just astounded. I am almost in awe of the fact that we are still standing. It just tells you of our resilience, that all these things they throw at us, all these injustices, it's their own people that are revealing all these things. It's not us that are saying it. Their own people are revealing all these things to us. All this stuff they are doing to us, and we are still standing. You know what one African said about this? I was listening to him on YouTube the other day. He said something about that our position, most will see it as total weakness. But it depends on how if you flip the dial, you can see it as an advantage now. Because you can make leapfrogs, you can be more nimble in the way you move. Because those other ones have things to protect, they have legacies to protect, they have more wealth. What do we have to lose? What do we have to lose? We are at the bottom. People treat us like crap all the time. Our countries, our resources, everything we are being dispossessed of everything. Remorselessly, by the way. What do we have to lose from just getting our act together? And we don't need a lot of our people. Let's face it, the rest can go and live their lives, while the ones that have the vision can do what they need to do to protect it. And I'm surprised that hasn't happened yet. Maybe that's the reason why we are still standing. I don't know that. Like I said, I don't even know why we are still standing. Maybe there are people out there actually doing the hard work, trying to keep the roofs up, as you normally say, Gina. And that if they are there, we need to find them. And if they are not there, they need to be created. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you so very much. And I love how you brought in that into the conversation. Yeah, we're not in a very strong place right now, and we haven't been for a very long time. But like you just said, and like we like to say on this channel, is that we've had a lot of people holding that roof up, even though the walls and the doors have been knocked out. We've had a lot of people, our people, holding the roof up and hoping that that we all come through and just do what we need to do to rebuild the strong house. And we do have a strong house, guys. We come from strong stuff. We were created to be the strongest humans on this earth, and we are still, even in the weakest position that we find ourselves in today, are still the most beautiful, the most excellent, the most intelligent, the strongest humans on this earth by all standards. So that being said, it's really just a matter of us realizing, the only thing that we're missing is our superpower, which is unity. Because with unity, we're going to be able to actualize and organize and realize our potentials. And man, do you not understand what our children are capable of if we give them that? If we truly give them that. So it's really up to us. Are we going to hold on to these things that they gave us to hold on to? All these things that they gave us to hold on to against ourselves. Are we going to keep these little petty things going on? Are we going to buy into the fact that we're different just because they made us to think that we were different? Yes, we came from different parts of Africa, but we are one Africa. And that's the thing, be it that you call it Africa or, the land of the blacks, we are one. We are one people. And until we start behaving like one people, we're going to be weak, and we're going to be in a place of weakness. But believe me, the whole creation, the whole world is waiting for us to stand in the place that we were created to be in. So let's do it. Let's wake up. Let's do whatever we can do. Those of us that are in a position of understanding that unity is key, let's put this out there. Let's sell it like it's crack. Thank you so much tonight. I appreciate you so much. Mr. Gopeka, I want to tell you something. I've never seen you come on this channel before, but I hope you continue to come. Right here, we're a family. And you'll see the same groups of people in the chats, and you'll see them in the panel. So we appreciate the wisdom that you shared with us today. Your honesty was everything. And to be honest with you, I don't regret a thing that you said, and I hope that you don't think that we do. So please tell me what you think. Give me your closeout. We're about to be out of here.
Okay, let me thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform, and I'll, as time permits, I think you said you'll be back on. I'm in the UK, by the way, so it's now early morning for me.
I'm so sorry.
And, so I'll be. I think we're like 5 hours in front of you, but I have some stuff to get done today, and if I get done by the time you come back on later, I'll look out for it. But I just want to respond to a couple of things. First of all, let me just say I believe that I'm the luckiest man in the world, in the sense that, having come from the Caribbean, I see the Caribbean and Latin and parts of Latin America as a bridge between Black America, for example, and Africa. A lot of, here in the UK, they call it Afro-Caribbean centers. In other words, the African people and the Caribbean people shop in the same market. We eat the same foods.
Yeah.
So that rift doesn't exist here in terms of social distancing. In terms of the US, again, I think a lot of the social distancing that I have experienced when I first came to the US, I remember my female cousins, for example, telling me, I came in my teens, teens, they had nothing good to say about Black American females, and I just couldn't understand it. And I remember I went to the park to play basketball in Brooklyn, and I couldn't understand the hazing I got from these guys. They had absolutely nothing positive to say about people from the Caribbean, relentless attack. And then I said to myself, look, if I didn't open my mouth, on face, I look like these guys. They look like people I know. And I was totally perplexed. I spent a lot of time trying. I say, these people are my cousins. I cannot have vitriol and hatred towards them. I need to understand where this is coming from. Yeah. And fortunately for me, I went to college, and I was introduced to two people. One of them was a social worker. The other one was in pre-med. And they gave me some books to read about, I can't remember which books they were. They were books like the name of the guy didn't come to mind. And then I took some classes in African American history. And then I realized that what happened to Black America, we don't even want to talk about it. The Holocaust. Please understand that the slave trade ended in America in 1780. And we probably don't want to deal with it. Black people in America were bred like cattle. I mean, like how you have an animal, you have an animal farm and you want to raise animals.
Yeah.
When they got the Louisiana Purchase from France, guess what? In exchange for, guess where? Haiti. In other words, if it wasn't for Haiti, America wouldn't be what it is today, believe it or not. They needed people to go on these plantations in Louisiana, Mississippi, and so on, outside the 13 colonies. And because the slave trade was banned, they started bringing Black women in around 1780. Before 1780, not too many Black women were in the U.S. on the slave trade. They literally just worked Black men to death. And they start breeding people. And so the American Black person is probably furthest removed in the Western Hemisphere from Africa than any other group of people. For example, slavery didn't end officially in Brazil until 1888, but we know if it ended on the books in 1880, slavery were probably coming in as late as 1900, right? In the Caribbean, slavery, in theory, didn't end until 1838, but they had a 10-year manumission period. We're talking effectively 1848, and again, slaves still coming in. So we had some of that cultural continuity in a way. And I just told you about my religious experience, and I heard some people, who are more familiar with it than me, telling me it was a Yoruba experience. I didn't even know that at the time, right?
Yeah.
So you know, the cultural continuity comes from education. We've got to, and well, where does that education come from? We have to take control of our own education. What is the benefit of a European telling us about our own history? How does he benefit from that? As a matter of fact, him teaching us our real history is a threat and is an existential threat to him.
Yes.
So we have to control our own imagery. One of the things I look at was you guys saw in the recent Olympic race, these Jamaican women, you know, running, and I was paying close attention to it. And it dawned on me that a disproportionate amount of Black women in beauty contests and in Olympics and in just any kind of international forum, you know what they're wearing on their head, right? So do you know that, and this is about 5 or 6 years ago, that Black Africa spent over almost $8 billion on fake hair?
Man.
You're talking about countries living on $2 a day. You know what you could do with $8 billion?
Schools and hospitals.
So I think part of that social distancing that we talk about, you know, again, something as simple as we all wear our hair naturally the way it is. You can't believe how much that'll bring us together. You know, a couple of people made mention of the fact that I made a comment that, you know, about Islamic slaves or whatever. What I said was that there was not a whole lot of slaves that were Islamic, and there's good reason for that. Under Islam, you're not a Muslim is not supposed to enslave another Muslim.
Yeah.
And the reason why the Hausa Fulani and these other Muslim group were able to sell so many non-Muslim into slavery was because under the Islamic doctrine they waged jihad, and the weaker tribes literally they would come around periodically to impose a tax or jizya, as they say, and these weaker tribes, in order to exist, had to furnish them with slaves. Otherwise, they themselves would destroy that tribe who were non-Islamic. But, you know, if you notice in the American history, when they talk about the Islamic slave, they usually bring up a guy named Ayub Diallo, the guy, I'm sure you've seen his picture, with a turban. And then there's an older guy from North Carolina or South Carolina or whatever who remembers some of his stuff that he wrote in Arabic. What they don't tell you is that Ayub Diallo, who was caught, I think he was an African prince or whatever he was, he was accidentally got caught up in the slave trade. Yeah. And he came to America, experienced slavery, and they sent him back to West Africa. And guess what he did? You want to guess? I'll give you the trouble. He resumed the slave trade. He continued the slave. In other words, despite the fact that he came from Africa, was caught accidentally as a slave and put in slavery in America, and under Islam, it teaches you to enslave other people who are not Islamic. He went back to Africa and enslave other Black Africans. And I am not cutting them any slack whatsoever. And I'm watching a phenomenon in America with this Arab woman representing the Detroit area in Michigan, Rashida Tlaib, in the U.S. Congress, who, you know, I mean, she's representing a Black district. So we got an Arab woman representing a Black district because the Black leaders of that district were so ineffective and corrupt that Black people believe that an Arab would give them more representation in the United States Congress. And of course, we all know she's using that as a forum to push Palestinian and Arabic issues. In other words, she's looking out for her own people. She's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. And the reason why she's able to do that is because Black people gave her a forum. And yet you can't name me one Arab district that has a Black person represented in it. In fact, I'll talk about this some other time, you know, about some of the stuff. So let me just go on with some other points I had that I want to close out. Let me end this on an upside. The reason why we are able to have this discussion today is because of technology. Yes. I think technology is bringing the world together in a way that, you know, people like us who kind of remember some of the pre-technology days couldn't have imagined. There's hope for young people, Generation Z, as they call them, or Z, as they would say in the US. That is people under 20, 22 who were born entirely in the technological age. And that brings us to the point that is so important for us to control our own images. One of the images that is portrayed of Africa is always some child running around with flies on them, with a big belly, and abject poverty and blah, blah, blah. And those of us like me who have been fortunate to travel around the world knows that even in Haiti, there are places in Haiti that looks like Hollywood, that looks like the best neighborhoods in America. I was in India and I saw so much poverty and filth on the street. I said, you know what? I can't take out a picture of this. See, my first thought was, man, I got to show my friends what's going on. I said, you know what? I can't do that to somebody because you can't unsee it. And yet, in the midst of all that poverty in India, I was able to go into just another neighborhood where they had malls and very modern stuff. Burger King but you'll never see that. You'll see some other parts. So the European is very smart. He or she goes around the world and present the worst of everybody else and create the myth in people's mind of so-called white supremacy.
Yeah.
I wonder how many people here listening to me right now know that there are people in Macedonia, which is in Eastern Europe, Central and Eastern Europe, who are still using outhouses. They have thatch roof houses in Eastern Europe. Have you ever seen them on American TV?
Never.
Have you ever seen people in Eastern Europe with donkey carts, pulling stuff? Here on this day, as I speak in 2021, those people exist. But have you ever seen it on American TV?
Never.
Every time they show you Europe, they show you Paris. Every time they show you some positive stuff. And there are places in Africa. There are places in what's the name of that Portuguese place up there? Angola. Has one of the most modern cities in the world. Cape Town, South Africa. In fact, it's sort of some people. The joke in South Africa is that Cape Town is a part of Europe that's just attached to the bottom of Africa. But if they show you South Africa, they'll never show you that. They'll show you the slums. So we have to. The number one thing we have to do is be very careful about our images, and for the Black women in particular, we and Black males too. I mean, we look at BET and some of the debauchery. Don't get me wrong. I'm a man, and I look at titillation, but it has its place. You don't bring on people simulating same-sex acts on the one big forum. You have a BET, and acting in certain kind of sexually salacious ways. You don't turn homosexuality, which is, that's something that, as far as I'm concerned, that's private. If you're a gay, I don't give a damn what you do in your bedroom. But when you come out in public and you put little Nas and, create this caricature, again, for me as a Black male, I'm very concerned because when I show up, you can't see me on the screen right now, but I'm almost 6'8" and 260 pounds. And trust me, some people think I played professional football. So I am very conscious of this, sexualized image that our women have. The women in the stream would probably notice. You travel, go overseas, and you might be traveling alone, and you can't understand why men are approaching you in the airport or in other cultures as if you're a prostitute. Well, that's the image that some of us has cultivated. And so image is very important. So I think one of the things we have to do is control our own technology and present ourselves always in a nice, positive light. One of the things that's happening in the ADOS community is women believe that they can show up at the airport wearing bonnets and house shoes and whatever it is, twerking on tables in restaurants. And yet twerking is part of African culture. I mean, if you don't want to see all these women in Tanzania twerk, oh my God, and the Congo and stuff like that. Yes, that is, you would never think that the image of an African female because there's a time and place for it. So I think it starts with image. Image is going to build self-esteem. And I think perhaps to the extent that we can use our media to present ourselves in the best light, helps, because people remember what they see more than what they hear. So I think that is what I think would be one of the ways I would go about trying to close this. I don't want to use the word cultural divide, but to close this gap that seems to exist between Black America. But there's hope for the younger people. People are 20, 22 years old from what I'm seeing. Their collaboration with I know, yes, I just criticized some of the rappers, but yet and still, I noticed that there are young people from the Caribbean, Jamaica, and so on with their dance hall, collaborating with some of these young females in the US. And I was quite shocked to see it. And they're getting millions of views. And so the young people, the hope, believe it or not, contrary to what I might have expressed, I'm hopeful. I'm still optimistic. I'm not as optimistic for the older folks, but I'm optimistic for the young folks because we have a chance to kind of mold and shape, what they do. So those are my closing remarks.
Thank you so much. Again, oh my gosh, I want to say something. I want to thank you for your honesty. I want to thank you for, a moment ago when you spoke about women, these are the kind of conversations we need to have, and we need to hear each other, and we need to be able to really take it in and maybe come back days later and really talk about it again, because in depth, I really sense that we're getting to a place where we're going to be able to have, the more important conversations that can leverage us, that can propel us. And I'm hoping that, everybody's open to it. But, at the same time, we can't, like, I believe what Petco said earlier when he said, what are we going to do? I mean, we're out of time, guys. So it's either we get it or we give up. Just go find your own chains, tie them around your wrist, put them around you. Find yourself a master and just go back to slavery. Because if we're not willing to stand up and do some of the things that needs to be done for us to be completely free, it's just another slide down. And trust me, they want them good old days back. And we're willing to give it to them by acting the way we do in a lot of ways, and not understanding that we have to put aside a whole lot of stuff. When we talked about, and I would love to have a discussion about, what other people have done to gain their, and maybe that will be the discussion tomorrow. Maybe that is something we can do tomorrow. Let's talk about what other societies were willing to do. And go do your research if you're ready to be in this conversation tomorrow. What other societies were willing to do? How far they were willing to go to be where we see them now? Superpowers. So thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it.
What you asked for now.
That sounds like a good conversation, actually. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So very much. So it looks like so I don't think you had an opportunity to close out, did you? I don't remember. I don't know.
Yeah, thank you, Gina. On that note of what you were just saying, I want to say that I found that in Rastafari and in that culture.
Okay.
No one's the same, and there's like a bandwidth, right? But overall, it was the idea that we're going to make our own things, following, Marcus Garvey. We're going to make our own clothes, and we're not going to care about Gucci or some European name on it that's going to give us clout. Our clout's going to be red, gold, and green. Our clout's going to be black, red, and green. It's going to be Africa. The symbol of Africa. It's going to be the lion, the African lion. And we're going to make our own clothes. We're going to buy from each other. We're going to buy from the next brethren or sister. And somebody's going to be making soap. Somebody's going to be making something. And not everything, but what we could, whether it's incense, oils, just something, just as an idea, food. And just the culture of like unity,
Yeah.
It was Marcus Garvey, one God, one aim, one destiny, and so that's what I found respectful and in Rastafari, and like I said, in what I found in the Baifal in Senegal, that unity and that respect for each other, and they made businesses with it. And we need to do that. We need to be able to respect each other and work together and honor each other. And, we're all individuals. No one's perfect. But in general, that was the culture. That is the culture that I respect in Rastafari. And as the brother said, there's different things happening in Jamaica. And they had that Rastafari, culture happening with Bob Marley and the original Rastas. And at the same time, they have, what's like a gangsterism, thing that happened that they brought in, with the hip hop and the like a gangster kind of reggae.
Right.
And so that culture is like, it's just like hip hop changing from the original conscious hip hop to the gangster hip hop. So
Yeah,
they have that same thing, and it's just all over the world. It's about us having integrity and finding strength from doing the right thing. And because we're doing that and honoring each other, then we can trust each other and actually move in a group because we can trust each other. And if we don't love ourselves and honor ourselves, then we're not going to honor and love the next man, because people think that the next man's a piece of shit because they believe they're a piece of shit. So when you believe that you're a righteous, person, or, just doing your best at least, or a god, or, come from the stars, an angel, whatever, whatever you believe, if it's positive, you're going to act on it. If it's negative, you're going to act on it. And there's always some, the enemy coming to separate, the COINTELPRO style, and that's never stopped. So we're just in that battle, and the best we can do is know ourselves, love ourselves and each other, and have that dignity, and act from that dignity. And that's an example for the younger people. And there's a energy and knowledge that we share just when we see each other, when we look each other in the eyes, like you said. And it's not always looking each other in the eyes, because some people, some cultures, they don't look each other. You know what I mean? There's different cultures. You're not supposed to look at people in the eyes like that unless you know them, or there's just a lot of different things, different cultures in the world. So we gotta understand that we can't expect everybody to be like the same way, because that's I was married to this Senegalese man years ago, and that's what I learned from them. They don't like just be looking at people's eyes like that. It's like you have to like really be close. There's just like so many different ways, little ways of people. But the main thing, I think, is respect. If you're really coming with it, with the love and respect, it's gonna show in your actions. And so on that note, I just want to, express respect to everybody in the panel, and everything everyone has shared. And it's really a spiritual thing, like you said before, Gina. I really feel like there's that spirit who gives us life and moves through us is going to show us the way. And we just have to be brave to follow that, that feeling within, and not close up, and just, be ready with that, with that dignity.
Yes.
So, everybody, good night. Rakoya, nice to hear you tonight.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Soul, for coming through. Everyone, I want to really take the time to really say thank you to everybody that's come through the panel. And those of you that's been working hard in the comment sections, I see you. My moderators, I love you much. I know I put you guys to work, and man, just do it so humbly, and I'm so grateful. So that being said, this is it. I think we did it.
can I apologize and say one more thing? I just remembered I wanted to say earlier about this
Sure, go ahead.
Indian and African divide. Even
Um,
though, you know, these people these Africans who were here before, so-called Indians, after the 100 years of the Indian Wars, you know, they suffered in slavery too. So we were all together in slavery, and they got mixed up. Everyone got mixed up, and they were slaves too. So I don't know what they're trying to say.
who's trying to say so?
The brother, the whole, you know, the social distance between the African American, you know, between immigrants and African Americans, like the whole Thunder Dog.
Yeah, that guy. I don't know, man. They truly just don't think that they came from
Potatoes and everything. But
they don't believe in the slave ships. They don't believe it goes deep. They don't even believe slavery actually happened. So I can't really.
what? Now that's a new one. That's a new one. Now, okay, let me shut up now. That's a whole new one.
I don't even know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that. So I just left that one alone. I can't.
Okay, because I was just trying to say that, yeah, they came here earlier and then some came later, but regardless, they all ended up fighting and being enslaved, regardless if it's prisoners of war, and then they made you work, then they made you a slave. So same difference. And they all mixed with everyone, and they had no power over it. And they originally came from the same place anyway.
Yeah,
They didn't come from here originally anyway.
You don't believe
Lord of mercy. Lord of mercy. I'm going to end on that. Lord of mercy. Thank you, Gina. Thanks, everybody.
You're very welcome. So you have a good morning, everybody. Good morning. So that being said, thank you so much, sis. All right. So I want to tell you guys something. This was an amazing conversation. This discussion took me up, down, and around. And man, I made some friends. I lost some friends. I don't know, but I think this was a success, and I think we have more discussions to have. I want to first and foremost apologize to anyone that I've offended. One thing that matters to me more than anything is unity, and another thing is I tend to want to stay in the direction of that flow. And for me, this was really a hard discussion, to be honest with you, because I kind of never want to take it to the place where we're being so honest that sometimes it's hurtful. But at the same time, I'm starting to realize that it's important that we test those waters, and maybe that is going to be the only way that we can actually combat a lot of the tensions that are, within our ciphers. This again is something that I'm going to have to go back and look at. I'm very, 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 very excited to say that these discussions to me mean that there is unity, and there is a want for the most part from our people to really connect. And trust me, y'all, that is definitely the superpower. Our unity is the superpower. So let's keep doing it. I want to thank you guys. I love you much. The Blackness.